As the leader of the Booner Pat, I lead from the front.
All right, boys. Lock in.
It's our core foundation, man. Grit.
I'm fired up. I'm fired the f*** up, boys.
It's pumping right now. It's got my juice pumping, boys.
Good morning. Welcome to the Jeff Iafrate Show here on Crunch Time Sports. Sorry for the delayed start. Had some things I had to get done before I started the show. Could have probably had the show around 9:30. But we're here. Hope everyone's having a good morning. The Lions won last night. Big Monday night game against a 5-1 Buccaneers team. Like, this win was huge. It was massive for the Lions. Now they have a tied record with the Bucs. Both teams are 5-2. The defense played well. The offense had its moments for sure. So, we'll break all of that down today. Hope everyone's having a good morning. What a day. Victory Tuesday. And, the Lions win on prime time once again. That's just what they do. Even if it doesn't look always the prettiest, which last night, by the way, I know they didn't have their best game offensively. They still won by 2 scores. So, they won 24-9, and people want to talk about how bad the offense looked. So, just kind of put into context how impressive the Lions actually played last night. That's the context. They won by 2 scores, and they didn't look great. It was kind of like it was kind of like the Browns game. I feel like the offense didn't look great against the Browns, and they won by 2 scores, at least. And, that's where people are going to nitpick, and people are going to, find reasons to be upset, which, I'm sure you can always nitpick things. That's for the coaching staff to do, all right? That's for Dan Campbell to do. They're going to fix things offensively. I think the stat, they're like 0 for 20 on 3rd and 10 plus. Like, all that stuff they're going to fix during the bye week. But overall, you should be very thrilled with what you watched last night. From a defensive perspective, which I have some things I do have to show you today, that it's stats that I thought were interesting. I'll highlight some players. I'll talk about Kelvin Shepard and that defense because they deserve a lot of praise today. And then, of course, we'll get into the offense and different things about the game. And honestly, over the next couple of games, what I expect, because the bye week is this week. It's going to be a great show. So hopefully everyone's having a good morning. I want to play Dan Campbell's post-game locker room speech because I try to do this every single Monday. And it was incredible. And I think Calvin Shepard got the flowers he deserves. So let's play the locker room, post-game locker room speech from Dan Campbell after a victory. Here it is.
Defense. Listen, 9 points allowed, 4 of 16 on 3rd down, 1 interception, 1 fumble recovery, 252 yards allowed, man. That's outstanding defense. Listen, we did what we had to do. There's things we got to clean up, but I tell you what, defense, you play like that, you win every game. That's the bottom line. That's outstanding. That's the way to cut it loose, just like we talked about, guys. All right, I got really 3 game balls. I'm going to start on offense. 136 rushing yards, 82 receiving yards, 2 total touchdowns, 218 total yards. Jahmyr Gibbs. All right, on defense, 8 total tackles, 1 sack, 1 quarterback hit, 2 TFLs, 1 pass defense, Jack Campbell.
I appreciate you guys. DB's hell of a job today. Hey, let's keep it going. Yep.
Listen, and this guy, man, I feel like he's been on the come for a while now, man. Playing really good football and just versatile, man. And to have this guy back, it's been big. 5 total tackles, 1 sack, 1 quarterback hit, 1 TFL, 1 pass defense. Man, come on out, Barnes.
It feels so good to be back, man. Bro, that was a long recovery for me, bro. To be back mean a lot to me, man. This really go to Shep, man. He didn't put us defense in a great position, bro. To go out and make plays, bro. I gotta give this to my defensive coordinator, man.
Y'all already know, bro. I ain't shit without y'all, bro. Forever in the day, this league been about players, always will be about players. That's why it was an honor for me to take this job. Fellas, it's only the beginning. Do y'all see how good we can be? Yes, sir. It don't matter. Nameless faces, we don't give a fuck. We line up and play anywhere. I love the fuck out of y'all, man. I appreciate the fuck out of each and every one of y'all. D-Bones is yours.
Yes, sir.
Break it down. Let's go.
Hold the bind. Let's come back hungry. 1 on 3. 1, 2, 3. Win.
I mean, I don't know how you can't love Calvin Shepard. I mean, love this team in general. I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs gives the game ball to Penei Sewell, which, by the way, Penei Sewell had an incredible game. I mean, he was dominant as always. So, I mean, the offensive line run blocking, Jahmyr Gibbs was running through massive holes. I mean, he was incredible. Jahmyr Gibbs had over 200 yards from scrimmage. Like, if you want to start with some players to highlight, that's the guy you start with. He had 17 carries, 136 yards, 8 yards a carry. He had a 78-yard touchdown run. And then in the passing game, he had 3 catches, 82 yards. I mean, him and Amon-Ra basically combined for 300 of their 375 yards. Like, those two did most of the heavy lifting yesterday. I mean, besides them, I mean, Brock Wright had 23 receiving yards. That was the next closest. I mean, Amon-Ra had 6 for 86, most of that damage in the first half. And then David Montgomery had 13 for 21. He averaged 1.5 yards a carry, roughly. He didn't have a great game. So Jahmyr and Amon-Ra were a big reason for what happened yesterday. And obviously the offensive line, pass blocking. This is a good Bucs defense, so I'm trying to take it, not with a grain of salt, but trying to add context to it. Like Jared Goff got sacked 4 times, but that Bucs defense is really good. So, the offensive line, could they play better? Absolutely. Taylor Decker allowed a sack. Jared didn't have, he wasn't comfortable most of the time. But I will say, in the run game for Jahmyr Gibbs, they got to work, that offensive line overall. So on defense, though, I think Jack Campbell and Derek Barnes deservedly so. I mean, they both got game balls because that front 7 was incredible. They were great. Jack Campbell had 2 TFLs, pass deflection, quarterback hit. He had 8 tackles tied with Eric Hallett for the most on the team. Derek Barnes had a sack, a TFL, pass deflection. These guys are just making plays, getting their hands on the football, affecting the quarterback. Even Anzalone threw in there some good pass coverage snaps on Cade Otton. So the linebacker crew, man, like they were another big reason you kind of won this game. The front 7, to be honest with you, which honestly we've said that multiple times this year. I mean, the front 7's been doing work this year, and Derek Barnes getting paid, and we had our own Lukas Klotz, maybe a little more skeptical about the contract. That man deserves every single penny he's gotten. He's incredible. Derek Barnes is really good. He plays that Sam position so well. He can rush the quarterback. He's done that. I mean, he had a sack yesterday, but on the year, he's already tallied up a couple sacks. He's got 3 sacks on the year. Like he's been really good for them. And he's adding in 7-8 tackles a game. So, and now you're seeing a little bit of that, ability to affect the passing game too. The pass deflection, he had a pick in the playoffs against the Buccaneers. So for whatever reason, he has pretty good games against the Bucs, but they did some damage against Baker Mayfield. This defense, Calvin Shepard, this is the biggest thing with Calvin Shepard. I've spoke about this too. Like, it's such a breath of fresh air to have Calvin Shepard in this building. He is a modern day defensive coordinator. That's what he is. He has the ability to adapt to what the modern game is doing. I think Aaron Glenn, we can agree, and you might disagree with this, but Aaron Glenn has always had guys play hard for him with this Lions team. I'm sure Aaron Glenn, you could see it. They play hard for him. But I'm talking from a schematic standpoint. Calvin Shepard is far superior than Aaron Glenn. He's not stubborn. He makes adjustments. You've seen this defense from a game-to-game basis have a similar identity, but they adapt to who they're playing. And Calvin has done a really good job of kind of balancing between like what we are as a football team, our identity, who's healthy, and who we're playing. He's able to kind of take all of that into consideration and come up with the best game plan possible. And he did that against the Bucs. He did that against he tried to do that against the Chiefs. Obviously, Mahomes just got the best of the Lions, but he's done that against other teams they've played this year as well. You saw it against the Ravens. He implemented the quarterback spy, which Aaron Glenn was stubborn to do that for his entire career. I think actually still probably with the New York Jets. So Calvin has shown he's open-minded. He's willing to adapt. He's willing to, just see where the league is going, what the NFL is doing currently. And, this Lions team has been a heavy press man team, but last night they played more man. But you see last game against the Chiefs, they played more zone, or other games they play more zone, 60% zone in most of these games this year. And it felt like last night they were running a little more man coverage, probably because of the receivers they were facing. They had a lot of injuries on that Bucs team. But again, that shows Calvin Shepard's ability to kind of week to week adapt to what the other team's doing, which to me is coaching, and you can't miss Kirby Joseph, Brian Branch, DJ Reed's already out, Terrion Arnold's out. I mean, they're missing their starting corners and starting safeties. You have Thomas Harper out there, Eric Hallett out there, Nick Whiteside out there. Amik Robertson would be your best corner out there. But he's doing this. I mean, these are practice squad DBs. And look at the performance they had yesterday. I mean, as a secondary. And Amik Robertson talked about it, like after in his postgame speech, or his postgame press conference. He said the secondary heard all the noise, and they wanted to step up to the challenge. And boy, they did. Baker Mayfield, 4.6 yards a completion. 4.6 yards a completion, guys. He was 28 of 50 for 228. Like, they shut down these players. A lot of the yards that they did tally up was like Cade Otton, in garbage time. Tez Johnson had the one touchdown catch. But overall, like in the first half, Baker had like 20-something passing yards. I mean, this defense, like Dan Campbell said, if you play like that, you're going to win a ton of games. And I think we can all agree that if this Lions team is going to win a Super Bowl, it's going to go through that defense. Like, it's going to be based on performances like that. That's what it's going to take. And now you're going to play good quarterbacks. And Baker Mayfield was the front runner for MVP. And look what they did against Baker Mayfield. I mean, he looked pedestrian. He looked pedestrian yesterday. Like, we're talking about a guy who was balling, absolutely balling. And you forced an interception. Arthur Millette, who they signed like a week ago, got the interception. They forced a fumble on Sterling Shepard, recovered it. They forced another fumble on Baker Mayfield, didn't recover that one. But they were forcing turnovers. They did well against the run. The Bucs only averaged 3.4 yards a carry as a team. So, I mean, you're talking about less than 5 yards a play. When you're talking about passing, they only averaged 4.6 yards of completion, and rushing the ball, 3.4 yards a rush. Like, they shut down this Bucs team, man, offensively. And it's been a high-powered offense, this Bucs team. And I don't care who's playing, because last week the Buccaneers had this wide receiver core and put up almost 30 points. So Buccaneers fans can pull out the excuse that they weren't healthy. And I get it. Mike Evans was hurt, but last week he was hurt, and you guys put up almost 30. So you got to give credit to this Lions defense for stepping up to the plate. And on top of the players that I think deserve a lot of praise, like the Nick Whitesides of the world, shout out to Booner, SVSU, practice squad Nick Whiteside. He came in the game yesterday for Rock Ya-Sin, who actually played really well too, but he had a couple pass deflections. He had, he had 3 pass deflections in that game. One of them saved a touchdown. He was incredible. And again, a practice squad guy. He looked really good out there. And the defensive line, I think you got to give credit to. Like, Aiden Hutchinson's getting chipped by a tight end, chipped by a running back, and then taken on a tackle. They're throwing everything at Aiden Hutchinson, which makes other guys better. Derek Barnes gets a sack, right? AQM gets pressured. Tyrus Wheat, I see in the chat, got the sack. You also have Aleem McNeil from the interior forcing pressure. Like, Aleem McNeil, he had a pass deflection as well while he was double teamed. So Aleem McNeil made his presence felt. Like Justin said, pushing the pocket, collapsing the pocket, and making other guys better. So the defensive line, I thought, played excellent for the entirety of the game. And you could feel with Aleem back, the rushing defense get improved right away. They're already a pretty good rushing defense, but with Aleem McNeil, you could tell they're going to be elite. I mean, you have Aleem, Tyleek, and DJ Reader. Roy Lopez, a good run defender as well. They have guys that can defend the run, and you saw that. So quarterback play, if you can't run the ball, you're making it a lot more easy. You're making it easier on your secondary, but if you could rush the passer, now you're making it even easier on your secondary, which they did last night. So, yeah, that defense was dominant. And this is honestly the performance you wanted going into the bye week. And this is the performance you wanted coming off of last week, where they just got absolutely torn apart by Mahomes. They got picked apart. They played obviously a lot of zone coverage. They got picked apart by Mahomes. And here's the thing, and this is what I love about Calvin Shepard. I want to bring this stat up because I actually brought this up on last week's show. Baker Mayfield going into this game against zone coverage was one of the best quarterbacks in the entire NFL. He has the second high. Let me see this. Passer rating versus zone. Okay. Baker Mayfield going into this game. He has the second highest passer rating versus zone coverage. He has the 5th highest completion percentage against zone coverage. Passer rating versus man coverage, 29th. Completion percentage versus man coverage, 31st. What did the Lions do in that football game? They ran a lot of man coverage. I mean, I'm just saying that, you know what that shows, guys? That shows Calvin Shepard's ability to take that in, game plan, and understand that, hey, Baker struggles more against man coverage. And they did that. And that defensive game plan was excellent. It was awesome. It was awesome. Phil says, Maz was saying Monty is on his way out and won't be on the team next year. Monty? Well, that's not true at all. Monty, by the way, like Monty, we can talk about the run game. I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs is an incredible player. Last night, he was the hot hand, so they're going to keep feeding him. I mean, they gave Montgomery this, like, jokes aside. I know we were watching the game last night. We're like, what's going on? They're not giving Monty carries. Like, but obviously, this is hindsight now looking back. He had 13 carries. I know he got some carries in garbage time, and I understand that's he had a couple carries in garbage time, but he had 13 carries. Jahmyr had 17, and Jahmyr deserved every single one of those carries. I mean, so last night you can't really argue Monty deserved more carries. He just didn't play well. I mean, he had 13 carries for 21 yards. Jahmyr was the hot hand, and rightfully so. He got more touches. So I don't know. Monty is. I think it's more of a. It was more of a matchup thing, in my opinion. You know, David Montgomery against the Buccaneers was not. He hasn't been good. I mean, he hasn't been that good every time they play the Buccaneers. Jahmyr Gibbs, on the other hand, has been really good every time they play the Bucs. So I think it was more of a matchup thing. You know, Monty against a team like the Browns, who another team that does well with kind of running backs like David Montgomery, he plays pretty well. You know, Jahmyr, on the other hand, probably plays a little better against those teams. He can get out to the edges and make plays. They have Vita Vea. I know you guys are talking about him. Yeah, he's an incredible player. This Bucs team. I mean, go look up Dave Montgomery's game logs against the Bucs. None of them are impressive. So I think it's more about the matchup is kind of why David didn't have his best game. I'm not going to sit here and panic about David. I think he'll be fine, but I think it comes down to matchup, and you got to ride the hot hand. You have an offense that wasn't playing well already. I mean, Jared had 2 turnovers. And this Bucs defense was getting a lot of pressure on him. This offensive line wasn't protecting Jared that well. They just decided we're going to give the ball to our best players and win this game. And they did that. They gave it to Amon-Ra St. Brown in the first half. They gave it to Jahmyr Gibbs. And they won the game on those two guys' shoulders, which rightfully so. Those are some of your best offensive players. Penei Sewell running behind him. Like, we can talk about Jamo and critique him, but overall, they leaned on their best players offensively, and they won that game. They scored 20-something points. It might not be the fashion in which you'd want to win all the time, but that's not how the NFL works, guys. You're not going to win games 37-10 every single game. You know, there's going to be games where it looks a little ugly, you know, and if they would have won by 1 point yesterday, I would have been fine because this Bucs team is good. They won by 2 scores. They didn't even allow more than 1 touchdown. They allowed 1 touchdown against the Bucs. Like, you can't really complain about that. So it's like, it just happened. It was just the game that they played. It was more of a, like Dan Campbell says, you're winning in different type of ways. And the way they won yesterday was a defensive, you know, maybe not the prettiest performance offensively, but they still got it done. Phil says, should Decker have been on the sideline? He's obviously hurt. Yeah, I mean, well, here, we could talk about that too. Like, Taylor Decker obviously was dealing with injuries. And I don't know. With Taylor, I wouldn't have minded if he sat out that game. I know we talked about it a little bit on the watch party last night, which everyone who tuned into that, appreciate you. But they would have won that game, in my opinion, with Dan Skipper. I think, and I know it sounds crazy, but Taylor Decker would have a great game. He probably should have taken another week off, or it would have been 2 weeks. So, because I don't know. You risk worsening it, and that's a guy you really want for the playoffs. I mean, I don't really care about having Taylor Decker in week 8. I want Taylor Decker in the postseason. So I think that's a little tricky. You want to play him. I get it. It is a big game. Hindsight, they won, so it's easy to say, well, they didn't really need him. I get what Dan was doing, but you risk injury, and he's clearly dealing with something. So hopefully the week helps. They have 14 days off, 13 days off, whatever it is. So it'll be good for him, for sure, to get that rest. But Visionary Roar says we are drafting a left tackle in the draft. I agree with that. I would say a tackle, because I think Penei Sewell is going to be your left tackle of the future. I just think if you're going to make that move, you have to do it in the offseason. You have to give Penei the offseason to kind of adjust. So I would say a tackle in general and move Penei to left. Maybe a guy who could play right, in my opinion. Because you don't want a rookie at your left tackle. You want Penei Sewell at left tackle. You have a right-handed quarterback. You want Penei blocking Jared's blindside. I mean, that's how you're going to win. No question. Justin O says, I want Proctor from Bama. If he's coming out, he's probably going high first. Yeah, dude, Proctor's going to go super early. He's such a good player. Proctor's incredible. I mean, he really is. I did want to mention, too, just for another storyline kind of from this game to talk about here, Jameson Williams. I know people are going to bring up Jamo, so let's talk about him, because last night Sam Laporta and Jamo didn't really do anything. But Jamo, we just have to understand what Jamo is, okay? He's had to start the year. To start the year, he was getting targeted a lot more, obviously. Green Bay, no one had a good game. But he had a 100-yard game against Chicago. He had 40 yards against the Ravens, 40 yards against the Browns on 8 targets. So, you guys know how that game went. It wasn't a great game for Jamo. And then the next week, he had 1 target, 1 catch for 9 yards. So, I mean, are we going to blame Jamo? He only was targeted 1 time, caught it for 9 yards. And then last week against the Chiefs, 6 receptions, 7 targets, 66 yards, and a touchdown. So he had a good game against the Chiefs. And then yesterday he had 2 targets, no catches, but they weren't fair targets. I mean, they were like jump ball, they were jump ball targets that were probably they weren't benefiting him. They were tough balls to catch. So am I worried about Jamo? No. I think the reality of it is this, guys. This team has a ton of weapons. And there's going to be games where guys aren't involved. And you have the emergence of Sam Laporta over the last couple of weeks. I mean, John Morton has one of the hardest jobs in football. And what I mean by that is trying to get everybody the football. That is hard. I mean, you only have what? Jared Goff's going to have 22 to 25 completions a game. That's it. Maybe I'll even say 20 to 25 completions a game. You already know that Amon-Ra St. Brown's getting 8 of those. Okay. Then Jahmyr Gibbs is probably going to get 3. So now we're already at 11. We're about halfway there already. All right. Then David's going to get 2 to 3. You're going to check down to him a couple times. Okay. Now we're at 13, 14. Brock Wright gets 1, 2. They spread the ball around. So now we're at 15, 16. Okay. And then Sam's going to get 4. Now we're at 20. That leaves what? Probably 1 to 5 catches left. And we haven't gotten to Khalif. Khalif might have 1 in the game. Jamo's you have to make sure Jamo gets a couple catches. I agree. But it's just hard because there's so many weapons. And I think the offense that they're running this year with John Morton, even though people like to call him a deep shot guy, I just think they haven't really figured out what they want to do with Jamo yet. I mean, you haven't seen a consistent role for him. It seems like the route tree kind of varies game to game. Sometimes you have Jamo just strictly running deep routes, which against the Browns he kind of did. And then you have other games where he's running these short intermediate routes where he's getting these, 8-yard catches, 10-yard, 12-yard catches, where people are probably more happy with that. But last night he got 2 targets. They didn't really involve him much. But to be honest with you, they didn't involve anyone but Amon-Ra and Jahmyr Gibbs that much. I mean, Brock Wright was their 3rd leading receiver. So I think they're still it's okay to admit that they're still ironing out things offensively. they're still ironing out things. It's only, we're only, 7 games into the year. People act like this offense is going to be a done deal within a couple games. I mean, you got to give it a little more time here because they are, the last 2 weeks, last week against the Chiefs, they didn't look great offensively. This week, I mean, they played 2 pretty good defenses, but I want to see how they look after the bye week. That's probably because you play the Vikings off a bye week, and that's the best way to judge coaching staffs is what happens after the bye week. How do you look coming off of a bye week? It's like, okay, good coaches win off a bye week, and I think Dan Campbell's going to do the exact same thing. But give this offense a little more time here, and we'll see what kind of happens with Jamo. You guys already know how I feel about Jamo, man. Like, I think Jamo affects the game even when he doesn't get the football. That's true. And I'm not going to sit here and argue that, but I wouldn't have paid Jamo. I've said that multiple times, and I love Jamo. Big Jamo guy. As in terms of defending him as a player, even through some of the early bullshit, I always had Jamo's back. Obviously, as things kind of went on, it was like, okay, Jamo, we got to get you on the field. I wouldn't have paid Jamo. That's just my opinion, because this offense, you have so many weapons. It's not like paying Jamo was a must, but Brad decided to do it. I thought, hey, if you draft a receiver as high as it did Tesla and he looks as good as he does, I would probably wait to extend Jamo. I've already stated that. But I think overall, Jamo's role is going to be pretty much what it is right now, guys. Like, I don't know how in their right mind thought he would lead the team in receiving yards. Like, how this thing goes. You know who Jared Goff is. And that's not a diss. We know he's going to get Amon-Ra and Sam Laporta involved. We know he's going to check down to his running backs, and we know he's going to spread the ball around. He doesn't force feed his number 1 and number 2 wide receivers. He only does really consistently his number 1 receiver, which is Amon-Ra. So Jamo is not going to have a consistent role from a game-to-game basis. Get used to it. He's not. That's just not going to happen with Jared, not going to happen with his offense. That's why I was a little more hesitant on extending him, but we're already here. He's extended. So I get it if you're saying, well, we're paying him $20-something million. Yeah, I agree. And if you pay a guy that much money, you want to get him more involved. But the reality is that's just not this offense. It's not. You're paying a guy that much money to not get him consistently involved because that's not going to happen. They spread the ball around. Everybody eats, and it works. That's the best way they should handle it. They've had success doing that. So, like, I get it. I get it. I still, again, you had 2 years of control with Jamo. I don't really understand extending him. I really don't. I get paying him early, but it's not even about the money. It's about just extending him when you have all these contracts coming up. Like Brian Branch, which, by the way, probably poorly timed after last week, but I would still pay Brian Branch whatever he wants. I want Brian Branch back. Sam Laporta is so important to this offense. Like, teams, to have a tight end like Sam Laporta is a bonus to any offense. It's just how it is. And Jared, you have to cater to your quarterback, and you can't tell me that Jared doesn't rely more on Sam Laporta. Jared's that type of quarterback, intermediate. He likes his safety blankets. Sam Laporta is a safety blanket, just like Amon-Ra. Like, those two keep the chains moving. And then Jamo brings a whole nother dimension to this offense with his speed, his explosiveness. But the reality is he's just not going to be consistently involved. It's just not really how it works. You're not going to, unless it's the Browns game and you're just forcing deep shots to Jamo, which they didn't work out in that game. But that's the only way you're going to get him involved, because this intermediate stuff, yeah, you can target him, but that's why you have Laporta. That's why you have Amon-Ra St. Brown. Those guys are always open, 5 to 15 yards. They're just getting fed, short and intermediate. Like Buddy says, if Gibbs and Amon-Ra are both out a game or two, who do you go to? Well, the reality is you're going to get Jamo more involved. But as a safety blanket, it goes right to Laporta. If Amon-Ra's out, like, Laporta's getting all those, like, not check down, but, he's getting those. He's getting a lot of targets too. So it would be Jamo and Sam Laporta. It would. I think Jamo's a really good wide receiver too. But you guys know how this league works, man. Wide receiver twos, you can find them. I mean, that's just how it goes. Maybe not the speed of Jamo, but that's the trade-off. It's like, yeah, you save all that money, but you might have to let go of a guy like that. It's just how it goes. And I agree with Ken. I do. Part of the reason they were always open is because Jamo can take the lid off. I agree. But you're not paying someone $25, $27, $28 million to just be a decoy. Is that fair? Like, you're not paying a guy that much to be a decoy. Like, if we're just looking for a guy who can distract the defense by taking the top off, the Chiefs got Tyquan Thornton for that. And they're paying him pennies. Like, we're not looking for a decoy. That's not why you pay a guy $28 million. Like, Tyquan Thornton's making pennies for the Chiefs, and he does the exact same thing. You know, you want a guy that can consistently make plays, and they just don't involve him. I'm not saying it's Jamo's fault. I'm saying it's the offense he's in. Like, that's just how it is. He's not going to get, 8 targets a game. He's just not. Like, this is not how they roll on this offense. Doesn't mean he's not a good player. It's just the offense he's in. All right, let's see. Ascendant Zaro says Jamo had less targets because Jared hadn't had time to throw last couple weeks playing against good D lines. True, which is why the point I made earlier still stands. It's like if you're facing good defenses or defenses that can create pressure, he's always going to go to his guys that are safety blankets, like Jahmyr, Gibbs, and Amon-Ra, which, by the way, those two led their team in receiving. Or his tight ends, which, by the way, they were 3rd and 4th on the team in receptions. Yeah. DeMonte says, we won a football game last night against a really good football team. Why the hell are we talking about moving off Jamo? No one said that, DeMonte. I don't know why you're bringing that up. No one's saying move off Jamo. We're talking about Jamo's performance and why I'm not concerned in the reality of his role in this offense. That's what we're talking about. Not about moving off Jamo. People struggle having conversations that aren't positive. And honestly, most of the game discussion should be positive. That's what we spent the first 25 minutes of the show on, DeMonte, was all positive. That's what this game entailed of, positive stuff. I was asked about Jamo's game, so I was answering that, and I think that everything I said was facts. But yeah, I already stated this game. People that want to complain about the game or the results, or the offense look bad, I think are just being babies. To be honest with you, they won by 2 scores against a 5-1 Bucs team. Like, it was a great game. Like, people should be happy with that performance, even if there are things to work on. People are going to overreact, and get upset. It is what it is. Phil, Shep a much better DC than AG, no question. Kelvin Shepard's incredible. He's Kelvin Shepard's a stud. Like, I've already tweeted out. I tweeted out like 2 weeks ago that Kelvin Shepard is going to be he's going to be a future head coach, but I think he's going to be a head coach quicker than people think. I mean, he's exactly to a T what teams are going to be looking for. We're talking about leadership, talking about schematics, like all this stuff. And you guys know how I feel about hiring defensive head coaches. I've never been for it, and I don't mean that as disrespect to any defensive head coach. I just think the league's moving in a way where you want to hire offensive guys. So personally, I would always hire an offensive guy, but that's not the argument here. It's about whether teams will hire him or not, and I think they will. There are teams that still hire defensive guys. So I think Kelvin Shepard is still going to get an opportunity to be a head coach, and I think teams are going to fall in love with him because of what he's doing here in Detroit. And honestly, that's what happens when you're a good team. You lose your coordinators. So, Calvin's not going to be here. I think he'll be here probably one more season before he leaves. I'm just speaking facts. I know people don't want to hear it, but that's the reality. So Sean Dion Hamilton, keep grooming him because that probably will be your next DC because Calvin's going to be gone within 2 years. Just how it is. John Morton, I think, stays here. I don't see him becoming a head coach. I think he's at a point where he just wants to be a coordinator, in my opinion. He doesn't come off as someone that would want to be a head coach at this point in his career. It's kind of like Steve Spagnuolo, in my opinion. Like, Spag just wants to be a DC at this point. I think Johnny Moe's at that point, too. I can't see Johnny Moe becoming a head coach. I don't know. Maybe I'm completely wrong on that. But Calvin, I think, definitely wants that, and I think he'll get it. Players want motivators. They want culture setters. Guys that set the standard for any organization, especially bad teams. If you need a head coach, you're a bad team, and your culture's trashed. Calvin seems like a culture guy, but not like Aaron Glenn. Obviously, he was kind of a culture guy, but it seems like, again, he's a little more stubborn. And I think Calvin handles the media better than Aaron Glenn does. So I think that'll definitely help him when it comes down to, becoming a head coach. But yeah, Buddy says Morton is still learning. Yeah, there's things Morton's learning. I mean, Calvin's not, he's going to learn too. I mean, there's things Calvin's learning. He's just way farther ahead than John Morton is. And I think it's because he's been here. So he's been around the personnel for so long. Calvin's just kind of, he's fit effortlessly, seamlessly. John Morton was with the Broncos and came back to the Lions with new personnel here. So it's probably going to take a little more time for him to kind of adjust to what they're doing here. So I'm willing to give him a little more time, John Morton. I'm not going to overreact yet with him. I know people were like going for his head on our stream last night. It's like, what are we doing here? Like, give him a little grace. I mean, and I was the guy that was overreacting after week 1. But give him a little more grace. Like, John Morton's, I mean, we've seen this offense, dude. I mean, they still almost had, they have 400 yards of offense last night. Like, I know Jahmyr and Amon-Ra combined for a lot of it, but that's still yard. I mean, they still put up a ton of yards on this Bucs team. And that's just how it is. 0-0 Dolphin. Appreciate the $5, my friend. Reading all super chats, by the way. He says, should have won by 30. With that being said, can't be mad at a good win going into a bye. Yeah, that's actually the perfect comment. Perfect mindset, Dolphin. That's all you should think. It's like, well, we probably should have won by more. I mean, they didn't score off any turnovers, which was a little frustrating. But, like, again, you won by 2 scores. It's like, okay, let's fix that. And you'll win by 3 scores next time, 4 scores. You know, but yeah, that's a great way to look at it. It's like, you can't be mad. You got to win against a very good team going into the bye week. That's what you want. Just to know, only thing I'm not happy with is them being 0 for 19 on 3rd and 10 plus. Yeah, I mean, that's a very, very odd thing. When that stat popped up, I was like, okay, I guess I haven't really thought about what they've been doing on like 3rd and longs, but I'll say, can they be better? Yes. Should they be better? Yes. But how much better are they going to be on 3rd and long? Probably not much better. I mean, if you're in 3rd and long, you're probably not. You're probably not going to be in beneficial. You're not going to be in a great scenario anyway. So, how about instead of trying to be better on 3rd and 10 plus, how about we just get to 3rd and 6, 3rd and 5? How about we get a little closer, 3rd and 5? You know, just how it goes. And Rude Boy Gang says they set up a 4th down. I mean, yeah, that's what goes on. They have a 3rd and 12, and they throw like an 10-yard completion, and now they're 4th and 2, and they go for it. So they play with an extra down in their pocket. Zach says, how do the Lions have more wins than the Packers, but the Packers are ahead of the Lions? Well, reasons for that. I'll explain that right now. So the Packers have the head-to-head, and they have less losses. So they have 1 tie. So they're 4-1-1, and they have the head-to-head. The Lions are 5-2, so they have less losses. It's the tie. That's why they're ahead of the Lions. Which, it's whatever. I hate ties, by the way. Ties suck. It stinks. But the Packers, by the way, this NFC North is that's why the win is so important, because, I mean, you're looking ahead here. The Lions, we already know kind of their schedule. The Bears have some weird games coming on the next couple of weeks. They have the Ravens, the Bengals, the Giants, and the Vikings. So they have they could probably split those games. The Packers in the next couple of weeks have the Steelers, Panthers, Eagles, and Giants. Those aren't gimmies either. Actually, those are pretty good games. Steelers is going to be a tough one for the Packers. That's Aaron Rodgers against the Packers. They have the Panthers, which the Panthers have been playing pretty scrappy football. They have the Eagles, which the Eagles, you never know what you're getting out of them. That's a primetime game. And then the Giants, who actually have been playing really well. So the Packers don't have any of these gimmies coming up either. I mean, they're not as difficult of a schedule as the Lions, but still, those aren't easy games. And the Lions have the Vikings, Commanders, Eagles, and then Giants. So they have a tougher kind of middle there, Commanders, Eagles, and then they play the Packers after that. Cowboys, Rams, Steelers, Lions have a tough stretch of games. But if they get through this gauntlet, you're going to be playoff tested, man. You're going to be playoff tested. Buddy says, hope Pittsburgh beats the Packers. I wouldn't, guys, by the way, I don't be surprised. The Packers play down to their opponents. They always do. They've done that. the last couple of years with Jordan Love, and that's why when they beat the Lions and everyone had him as a top 5 team, this past week I didn't have him as a top 10 team, which probably was a little aggressive, but I think they're a little fugazi in my opinion, what the Packers are doing. Xavier D. Sorry for pointing out to Booner last night that you had a girlfriend to go home to on your birthday and maybe didn't want to hang out with him till midnight. Well, we actually did hang out till midnight. He, we did hang out. Appreciate all the fellas, man. Love those guys. I wouldn't want to spend my birthday anywhere else, quite frankly. I mean, doing what I love with some guys that are my brothers. So even though everyone's fighting like brothers last night, it was a lot of fun. And to be honest with you, I didn't go home to my girlfriend. I stayed up late and continued to work because I love what I do. So I think I was up till 2 a.m. last night getting some stuff up. Which that's what it's about though, man. I mean, the Lions win, you can't sleep, you're all giddy. I'm all fired up. Just how it is. But that pink sash, I'm deleting the footage on that pink sash. I'm clearing the footage. No one share that with anybody. Please. Kamikaze, my boy Jeff, happy birthday, man. Hope you enjoyed yourself, brother. Appreciate you, Kamikaze. Much love to you. Much love to you, bro. Super Bowl Wilson, I told you and Booner after week 2 the Packers were frauds. I was called a madman. Yeah. I mean, I agree. I think they're definitely fraudulent. Definitely fraudulent. Packers are a little suspect, man. They are. I mean, they get all the national attention because they beat the Lions, and which, by the way, it's a good win. But come on, I cannot wait. I cannot wait for this Thanksgiving game. I cannot wait for this Thanksgiving game. Shout out to you too, Xavier. Much love to you, bro. Buddy, I'm not 31. Don't listen to Booner. I'm 25 years old. All right, I'm 25. I don't know where this 31's coming. Shout out to Boone, by the way. Boone's going to be live later as well. So go tune in and check Boone's thoughts out. And then we'll be live tonight as well to chop it up. And then we have the doc tomorrow. I think we got Sam Flannel on Thursday. We got a packed week of stuff going on. So it'll be a great week. Not 31, though. It's not. Xavier, only a real man could pull off a pink sash. I concur, Xavier. I agree. Especially when the pink sash barely fit. It did. Shout out to Boone. I walk in, this guy's got a sash for me and a pin. Shout out to Boone. Q&A we'll do for the last 10 minutes. I drop your questions. We'll talk about anything you guys want to talk about. Let's talk about it. I know we had a good weekend. I don't know if you guys watched the Seattle and Houston game last night, which I mean, we already talked about it. I hate back-to-back Monday night games. I know I might be in the rare crowd that doesn't like it, but the Texans suck ass, man. They suck. They really do. And the Seahawks are actually pretty good. I got to say, I don't know how legit they are, but they're a good team. Like, got to give them credit. They're 5-2 as well. Zach, do you talk to Fish? Oh, you want to see something? Hold on. Let me see this. Fish actually sends me. So let me explain something about Fish. All right. Fish is a very, very, very interesting person. I love that man. He is one of my, I would do anything for Fish. He sends me these voice messages, right? He sends me these voice messages, like the voice memos. Every time Fish sends me a voice memo, it is 10 minutes long.
You may know me. Jeff Iafrate, good morning. Hope you have a great day. Happy Monday. Happy Monday and happy birthday. Woo! I'm older than you, by the way. Fun fact. But happy birthday.
I mean, this is
Thank you. You're an incredible person. And yeah, proud of you. And
I mean, this guy said it is 11 minutes long. I listened to it, of course, but shout out to Fish. Yeah, I do talk to Fish. I check in with him. He's the absolute man. I don't know. I mean, you have to check into Fish. He's the best. Big play, Jay. Thoughts on opening night of the NBA? I'm fired up, man. I can't wait. Big play, Jay. I'm so excited. I know, it's a little. It's gonna be interesting to see kind of what happens with the extensions coming up here with Jay Ivey and Jalen Duren. I think Jay Ivey being out for the first month of the year is frustrating. I mean, all people have been wanting to see is Jay Ivey and Cade Cunningham play together, which you're not going to see that for the first month or so. So it's extremely frustrating. But overall, I am excited. I think a big player to watch this year for the Pistons is Asar Thompson. I think he has a massive year. And he has his really his first offseason truly of getting to work. He had blood clots last year, shortened his offseason. He still played pretty well and got better as the year went on. But yeah, watch out for Asar Thompson. He's going to be a beast. Like, I expect that dude to give you 17, 18 a game this year. Like, he could be that good, especially with Ivy out. Go to Asar Thompson as well. By the way, I don't think I ever talked about, I just realized this. The Lions wanting an edge. Did we talk about, I don't think we even talked about this. We put out on our socials over the weekend. Who reported that, by the way? Let me see. Let me see. Oh, here we go. Danny Rossini. Did you guys see this? The Detroit Lions are looking for an edge rusher at the trade deadline, per Diana Rossini. I mean, is this not, like, I feel like this kind of floated under the radar. When's the last time you've seen the Lions are looking for an edge? When does that happen? I think, oh, did he? Doc said it was fake news. Diana Rossini? My fellow Italian? I don't know, man. If she's reporting it, unless she followed up on her reporting and said it wasn't fake news, or it was fake news. But, I mean, I trust her report. Not that I don't trust the doc, but I got to ask the doc then why it's fake news. I would like the context of that, because I also trust the doc. But I will say there's only limited options if you're talking about trading for an edge here. I mean, you're talking about the Dolphins, going to the Dolphins and seeing if you can get, Bradley Chubb, Jalen Phillips, or Matthew Judon. Or we're talking big fish, and you go to the Bengals and get Trey Hendrickson, which you guys know how I feel about Trey Hendrickson. I am on board because it's a rental and because I think it would be a Super Bowl move. That would be the move that signals to your fan base, we are winning a Super Bowl. And I know, again, people are going to say, well, Jeff, they don't need it. The defensive line played well. I get that. I'm not saying they need a defensive end because they don't have one and they stink. I'm saying add more. I'm not trying to be the doc here and say, add a linebacker, add a wide receiver. But I'm saying add another pass rusher. I would be all for it. Like, okay, Packers. I see what you're doing. You got Micah Parsons and Rashawn Gary. It's cute. We got Aiden Hutchinson and Trey Hendrickson. Deal with that. And I think the important thing to kind of note here is how wide open the league actually is. Like, and I don't know if the Bengals will make too many moves because Joe Burrow's going to be back by December and Joe Flacco's giving him a little bit of hope. But if he's able to be moved, they would be an excellent move. And if not, you want a smaller scale move, call the Dolphins. They suck. They'll sell everybody. The teams to pay attention to, two teams, Dolphins, Titans. Titans will sell everyone. They stink. And the Dolphins will sell everyone because they stink. So keep that in mind. It's not a bad thing to have depth. And they don't have a lot of depth at edge. I wouldn't mind it at all. Davenport's coming back. But when Davenport out, or even when he's there, you basically have three pure edges. Tyrus Wheat's playing snaps. Like, let's be real. Like, they could probably get another edge and it wouldn't hurt. It would be okay. Even though Akim's playing really well. Akim, you still need to get him snaps. That guy's a beast. But it wouldn't hurt to have another one. The Eagles you could see how bad they want a pass rusher. They'll probably make a move at the deadline. Because they just brought back Brandon Graham out of retirement because they need help. Xavier, morning mailbag. If Halleck goes to the practice squad, is he gone? I think he is. By the way, Xavier, it's a great point, what you just brought up. Not even just with Eric Hallett, but like any of these guys. The Lions got to be so smart with who they put on that practice squad after that performance. Because Any of the players you throw on that practice squad that played in that game could be poached right away. Like Nick Whiteside, you're going to put him on the practice squad. He had 3 pass deflections. He'll be gone. Eric Hallett, he could be gone. So it is a tough decision, but that happens when you have a good team, man. You're going to lose some players. But yeah, after that performance, Xavier, Brad's got to be very careful with who you throw in that practice squad because they will be gone very, very quickly. You have that type of game in prime time against that team, a lot of these secondary guys are going to be getting poached if they go to that practice squad. Like Arthur Millette had a pick. Like that guy would probably get poached. I mean, it's just how it goes. And Kendall Fuller didn't even play. So incredible. I appreciate you all, man. It was fun. I had so much fun last night. The show was great. I had a great birthday. Lions won on my birthday. And I got to hang out with you guys. I wouldn't want to spend it any other way. It was awesome. So I appreciate all the support and love you guys showed last night. Just, it's the best. I look forward to it. It makes me happy. So stick around, hit the notification bell. You can turn on the little notification alerts. So when we go live, you guys get alerted. Booner's going to be live in the afternoon at some time. So look out for that. Boone's going to share his thoughts on everything that happened in kind of the next couple of weeks. And then we'll be live again tonight. So a lot of content today, a lot of stuff going down. Watch our content, support our content. You can follow us on social media platforms as above up here. Anything, if you have Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, follow it up. Appreciate you all, man. Shout out to Zach. He says, take care, bro. Thanks for everything. Appreciate you, Zach. Appreciate you. Buddy says, Jeff, did you get drunk last night? No, I did not. That was, I indulged over the weekend. All right, buddy. This weekend we had that one. Xavier, thanks for showing up this morning. Jeff, have a great birthday week. Appreciate you, Xavier. Appreciate you, bro. I'll see you guys later. You guys have a great rest of your day and stay blessed. Peace.